I'll
Yeah.
buy. Do you understand what I mean? So I'm thinking, hey, okay, fine. Let's make this £10 last. Started learning how to, spend less money, but still make sure that there's food in the house. But whilst I'm using £10 for groceries, there's a brand new video game of £450.
Oh, wow.
I'm thinking, so is it that we have money or we don't have money? So when it came to finances, again, for people who are immigrants, it's not the same for everybody.
Okay.
What I found is for a lot of us who are immigrants, who came to this country, the UK, as adults, we don't understand the finances in this country. We don't understand how finances work. We don't know anything about credit score, we don't know anything about credit card. But this is those of us who came at a certain time to the UK. We don't understand how the British finances work. So in my head, I'm thinking, wait, so apparently we don't have money because I'm not allowed to know how much money, because I'm not bringing anything, because I'm a housewife, because I can't find a job. But you give me £10 every 2 weeks, I should go and buy food. But then I say, how much is this new video game? You say £450.
£10 for 2 weeks?
Yes, every fortnight, £10. Then sometimes I'll get £5 to put top up on my phone, to put credit on my phone to be able to text
your family.
So I'm thinking, okay, wait, I need to understand our finances because as a good wife, those of us who grew up in church, Proverbs chapter 31, I need to, anyway. He said, by the way, I'm in debt. You're in debt? Okay, I didn't know this before we got married.
Okay.
But we can work on it. How much? He said, is it £70,000?
Whoa.
I converted it to Naira. I'm like, are you joking? How? On what? Because we're not, landlord is chasing us. We're not paying rent. Somebody is borrowing us car. My situation was really, really bad and extremely confusing. And at first, there was no physical violence. It was just things like, don't wear that. Wear this instead. You look better when you wear this. And at first, it's like a compliment, but then it's that you're not allowed to wear this anymore. Or don't eat this. Little things. And because our culture has taught us what to do as a good wife, you think that this is normal. You think that this is how it is supposed to be. But suddenly, all of a sudden, gradually, you're being isolated from people that could help you. So those of us who had friends, being isolated from your friends, being isolated from your family, all of a sudden, I don't have credit on my phone to be able to reach my family. I have to beg, please, can I use your phone to just text my mom? I've not heard from her. Those kind of things. Oh, there's certain clothes that I know these are when I want to dress, these are the clothes where I'm suddenly not allowed to wear those things anymore. I'm so gradually, you say something like, oh, you said we'll go here today. Did I say that? This girl, it's like you're not well. Okay. The number of times I started to hear that I'm not okay upstairs, then I started to believe it because I've been isolated from everybody else. And this is now the loudest voice that I'm hearing. How my life is inconsequential. If I die, nobody will miss me. I know I'm jumping a lot here, but I'm just trying to quickly just explain that it doesn't always start off as somebody slapping you across the face.
Exactly.
Sometimes that never happens. But that does not diminish the fact that you have gone through abuse. So my situation went completely as bad as it can get. I remember sitting down one day, and I've not shared this very often, but because of where I am now, I feel freer to say some things. I remember one day I sat and I had tablets. I don't remember what tablets, and I swallowed them all. It's time because I can't continue. It's too much. I was 24, 25 years old. Wow. I did everything right. I married at the right time. I've gone to uni. I've done all this. In my mom and dad are pastors in the church. I've tried to do the right thing, but look at how God is punishing me. That's the way I saw it.
And you used to sing in the choir as well.
I was lead vocalist in the choir. I was youth this, drama that. I was a full-blown my life was all about church.
Church.
I've been careful not to say God. My life was church.
Church.
Because as I've grown up, I've found out that church and God are different.
They're different, yeah.
Especially in the UK, church and God are very different. Anyway, as I got to the absolute rock bottom, I took these tablets and then I thought, right, that's it. Do I write a note? So if I write a note, he won't show my parents. If I do, my parents will not know how I got here.
Yeah.
And I thought, wait, so am I going to let somebody cheat me out of life? Am I going to let somebody take away the gift of life that God gave me? My mom and dad have worked so hard. My family, everybody, we've worked so hard for me to get to where I am. You know, am I going to put them through this? So I went and I made myself sick to throw everything up.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided enough is enough.
Yeah.
And I told my parents, because this is another thing, shame.
Exactly.
Shame is stopping us, Black people, from telling the truth. Shame is stopping us from admitting what is really going on in our lives, especially as Black women. Because maybe before you married that guy, maybe people warned you. Or maybe you made out like you have met your prince in shine, your knight in shining armor. He's going to be the savior, he's the best thing, and all of a sudden this same person is abusing you. Or maybe it's because of your culture, like in my case, my wedding was on the news in Bauchi. So shame didn't let me admit or couldn't tell anybody what was really going on. Eventually, I told my parents. Now, I'm one of the lucky people that at the time I told my mom and dad, I thought they would do the usual thing and say, you've made your bed, lie in it, we don't divorce in our family. That's what I was expecting. Thank God, my parents said, we would rather have a child that is alive than a child that is married. So no matter how Christian you are, because in my case, that was our situation, no matter how Christian you are, marriage cannot take you to heaven.
Right. So
my mom, luckily, coming from Nigeria, had a visa already that hadn't expired.
Okay.
Luckily. She found money, she jumped on a plane and came to come and save me. It was so bad that when we go to sleep at night, this man was still in the house. When we go to sleep at night, she would drag the dressing table across the door. We will sleep with knife under the pillow. That is the extent. I haven't even gone into any detail about the sexual abuse. That was something that in my life, it's not a story I thought that I would tell of myself. And it's still not a story. Sometimes I think about it and I'm thinking, me? That happened to me? The sexual abuse. It's nothing like I've never heard anything like it before.
Yeah.
What I was put through. And again, because I've been taught you have to be submissive as a wife. This man, there's nothing he didn't do to me. He had very dark tendencies, very strange things that he was into, and I didn't know. I didn't know until I had no escape. There's some things I still can't even say. Anyway, my mom came and I started to explain to her, look at the things I'm going through. I went and brought a bag. When he went out of the house, I went and brought a bag that he keeps in the corner and I opened it and I said, look at his tools. He had tools.
Yeah.
Tools that he used on my body.
Whoa.
He had a big bag of tools, pain-inducing tools, without my consent. But you're told to be a submissive wife. So I was expecting my mom to be shocked, but also to say, this is what your husband, she was like, lie. No child of mine is going through this. Luckily, so while she was there, she helped me move out. Now, I want to say something, and this may be the first time I'm saying it. If you have had a failed marriage, or if you have had a long-term relationship that has failed, you have to be very careful because it is highly likely that your next one will fail. And I will explain why. This is my observation. Because in my case, I got married again after 7 or 8 years. But that marriage failed. Very similar circumstances, except for I would have beaten this man up rather than him put his hand on me, because I vowed I would
no one was going to touch you anymore.
Yes, nobody's ever going to put their hands on me again. But the things that, it wasn't that much different. This one thought that because you've been divorced before, you don't want to be divorced again because you don't want people to see you as that kind of person.
Yeah.
So therefore, I can do what I like. What will you do? You can't go, you can't leave. Because if you leave, your African family will see that the problem is you. So he's right, so I stayed. But if you've had a failed marriage, for some of us, we spend our lives trying to prove that we were not the ones that were the problem. We spend our times trying to show that we are not the ones who were the bad one in the relationship.
Yeah.
So sometimes we rush into the next relationship and then we show everybody to say, see, somebody else likes me. Somebody else wants to be with me. So surely it's not me who was the problem in that first relationship. So we've married somebody not because they're the right person for us, not because we're in love with them, but because it shows the whole world, we're justifying ourselves. So that's all that, be careful. Your next, if you've had a failed relationship, be careful. Make sure that the next person that you're getting involved with is not the same man with a different face. And make sure it's for the right reasons and not to prove anything to anybody. Where I am today, so Dot read out before, I'm a family court magistrate. That's on purpose because I've heard some stories of what we go through with custody issues as Black women, what we go through the family court. So I'm a family court magistrate now. I am enjoying my career as a HR. I went and got myself a few qualifications and I'm enjoying myself as a HR professional. And there's all these other things that I'm doing. I recently got awarded Cheshire Woman of the Year. I'm still shocked because I don't even know how, I don't know how that happened, but Cheshire Woman of the Year 2023 is me,
Wow. Wow, well done.
It happened overnight. One mistake some of us make is that we look at somebody's page 100 and compare it to our page 3. So some people see me and think I've just come out of nowhere and I'm living my best life, man. They will not know that this is page 100 of this my journey. You may just be on page 3. You may just be on page 5. So you need to trust the process. But you have to do it on purpose. So for many years, I was just floating. Life was happening to me. Whatever comes to my front, I'll deal with it. The next one will come, I'll deal with it, and I'm just floating. My entire focus was, how can I pay my bills? That's it. And I'll have a couple of children. How can I make sure that they don't die in my care?
Yeah.
And life is just happening to me. But I made a conscious choice, and I think it has made all the difference in my life. I choose. That is one thing that we don't have the luxury of, or we don't think we have the luxury of. I choose. It is my choice. I am no longer bound by what somebody else tells me God said. I have a relationship with God myself. I'm a Christian still, but I am not bound by what anybody preaches to me. If you preach to me, if it resonates with my relationship with God, I take it on board, but I will not be bound by anybody else's rules except my own now. And a lot of people make a mistake of now living our lives according to everybody else, living our lives according to how it will look to somebody, living our lives according to how we can explain it, living our lives according to, I keep using examples, I used to live my life according to how my mother can explain it to the aunties in her church all the way in Nigeria. No more. No more. It is my choice. I decide. So then once I get to the point of I decide, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to wear, where I'm going to go, where I'm going to work, how my life is going to be, my story. Once I come to I decide, then the next thing is, well, what are you deciding? What are you choosing? Now, you may say, do you know what? I choose to have a lot of money. That's excellent. Like me now, that is on my list of choices. I choose to live in abundance. It doesn't mean money will fall from the sky, but I've learned to now I live in expectation of my choice. Yeah. So I expect that my life will be good. How it happens is it's not my problem. It's my self-concept. And I don't know if this is making sense. Who I say I am, I decide who that is. And you can't do it on your own. I still believe like I say, church is not God. I still have a strong relationship with God. So through prayers and all of that stuff, but I decide who I am. And as a result of me making that choice, things start to fall in place. Things start to fall in line. And you have to do it on purpose. Now, I say to people, now I got to a stage where most things I say, if you come to me and you say, EJ, I heard that you said this, I will say, yes, I did. I did. You may not like what I said. You may, whatever you want to make of it, but I will say, yes, I said it. Because everything I say now, I'm trying as much as possible. It's not very easy, but everything that comes out of my mouth is on purpose. You may not like it. You may not agree with it. Actually, what I say may be wrong, but I said it. If it's wrong and I think about it and what I said was wrong, if I decide it was wrong, then I'll apologize. But if it comes out of my mouth, I meant it. That's the first thing. Be careful what you say about yourself. We are so good at beating ourselves up. Black women, they told us that we're at the bottom of the food chain, so we started believing them. They told us that we cannot do this, we cannot do that, we cannot achieve this, we cannot achieve that. And then we started believing them. And that was me. In my place of work, opportunities will come and I will be sidelined. I'll apply for promotion, I will be sidelined. So I started deciding, no, I'm going to start speaking up for myself. Not everybody has the confidence to do so. But listen, we are in a stage in our lives now where it is necessary. It is necessary. We're not just going to sit back and go home and complain to somebody who cannot make any difference to the situation. We need to start showing up for ourselves. So me, who doesn't like confrontation, I still hate confrontation. Dot, you've seen some of my Facebook posts. People like to
I see them.
Many times. But I started speaking up. And now your choice of how you speak up is up to you. You're speaking up. Like I said, not everybody has the confidence to just talk like that or to write on social media or whatever. But make sure whatever action that you are taking is in the direction of fixing whatever problem you're facing. Stop wasting time. Stop lingering. Life is slapping you left, right, and center, and you're just sitting there and taking it. I started writing lists. I used to hate lists, but I have a list. On my phone, I have a journal of the things that I require, my life, basically, my life, the things that I have to achieve, the things I would like to achieve. Look at that list and I determine what is the next step. So people call them goals. What is the next step I'm supposed to take? So if I say now, I want to live in abundance. I don't want to be poor because I've known poverty. I used to be one of those people in church that would be so hungry. I'll open my door in the morning and some group of people, I still don't know who they are, have gathered food in a basket and put at my front door because I was known as I was the poor person, the poor person in church that anonymous strangers have to feed. That was me. So life is just happening, slapping you in the face and you're just taking it. Now I say I'm never going to be that person again. So I'm saying it, and that is my expectation of life, that I just will not be hungry. I will not be poor. Now, am I rich now? No. But am I working towards it? Yes. Am I working towards it on purpose? Yes. All the things that I'm doing to achieve abundance, are they all working? No. But does that mean I'm going to get discouraged and stop? Sometimes. But then I stand up and try again. What I'm trying to say is, we've been through stuff. I know some of your story, Dot. We've been through hell. We've met people who were supposed to love us, who were supposed to protect us. We've met people who made vows to us, who promised us all sorts of things. And then they went and did the worst thing that they can do. They betrayed us. They abused us. They beat us up. They gaslit us. They made us think we were crazy. They made us lose our confidence. They made us lose our vibrance. They made us lose our radiance. They succeeded in doing that. But as to whether that continues to be our identity, that's our choice. That is our choice. So take the time that people, whatever you've been through, take the time that you need to heal. You have to stop and acknowledge what has happened to you. You can't try to be, if you're too busy and try to make it not happen, you will hurt yourself. You have to stop and come to terms with what happened. Admit what happened. I was abused. I am an abused woman. I am a survivor. Whether anybody agrees with it, whether anybody sees it, that's not, it happened to me. Then when you have acknowledged everything that has happened, then the next step is entirely your choice. But that is the beauty of it. I keep saying choice. We forget that as adults, we have choice. And if you live in the UK especially, you have choice. It's not easy, but you have choice. You have choice. Choose where you go, who you talk to, how you dress. Choose where you want to work, what you want to do. You don't have to live according to anybody else's rules. So yeah. I'm going to stop there and just let you, if you have any questions, or like I said, I prefer for us to have a chat about it.
I was gonna say something. So obviously the title of this meeting today is Be Inspired. And like, I know you, I follow your Facebook post and stuff like that. Now, in terms of inspiring people, how did you, because we're using you as an example, as a case study, if I may, how did you, as an immigrant from Nigeria, a church girl that doesn't know her left from her right, gets into the UK as an immigrant, not knowing anything about, England, gets into a relationship that was abusive, comes out of there, gets into another one, which probably doesn't work. But before you get into the other one, start your journey there and then find your way as an award-winning person, several awards, as a magistrate. How did you even get from where you were before to the BBC and then to where you are now? Because I think that's inspiring, because a lot of times when people, when people are being abused and they come out of abuse, or even those that weren't abused, because of the color of our skin and because of our location, we just feel like, oh, I can't do this. Oh, no one's gonna accept me. I can't get anything right because of my color, because of this and because of that. So how did you just overlook everything and you just kept forging on?
The easiest answer to that is I stopped being afraid of people saying no to me. Because if you say no to me, that's the worst that can happen. I will go and knock on the next door. So let me explain how I got. So I worked in BBC for a long time as a producer. And this is how it happened. I was jobless, no work. Every job I applied for, unfortunately, you have not been successful on this occasion. Then I found something in the newspaper. This is another thing. Keep your eyes open for opportunities, because not everybody else is doing that. So if you're doing that, then you're already ahead of the line. So I was reading the newspaper, looking for a job as usual, free newspaper. And I saw that they were looking for jobless people to teach radio production. I said, what's there to lose? They'll pay my transport fare. They'll buy me lunch. It's somewhere to go. I applied and I got through. And I started to learn this, it was other people didn't do anything with it. It was just something to do because you have no work.
Yeah.
So I got on the train. I think I had a £5 note. And the train then I think was £2.50 return or so. So I thought I'm going to use my money. I got on the train and I went to BBC because I knew where the BBC station was. And I asked the receptionist, please, can I have a job? And she started laughing. Who is this that's walking off the street and looking for a job? So I said, no, really, I'm serious. Can I have a job? She goes, that's not how we give jobs here. You need to apply online. I said, I'm sure there's somebody in this office. She goes, well, it's all done in London. I said, I'm sure there's somebody in this office I can talk to. And I was smiling and I was being very nice. So she said, come, let me give you this email address. And she gave me the assistant editor's email address. I wrote in this wonderful letter, please, I would like to work for your organization, blah, 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 blah. I think my letter made him laugh. My email must have made him laugh because he said I should come, let him. I think he wanted to see what I look like. Who could have been writing this email? So I came, we had a conversation. He said he doesn't employ people like this, but he will give me 2 weeks work experience. I said, yeah, I'll take 2 weeks work experience. Do you pay transportation? I said, yes, okay. 2 weeks work experience. He says, but I don't have space for the next 2 months. Anytime you have space, call me. He called me the next day. I did my 2 weeks and I didn't leave. This was in 2008 and I didn't leave until 2020. I became an employee because I went and knocked on the door. The worst that could have happened that day is that they would have said, no, we have no job. I wouldn't have lost anything.
Yeah.
But because I didn't disqualify myself, and like I said, the way I did it, is I stopped being afraid of people saying no to me. Because if you say no, then that's it. But what if you say yes?
Exactly.
What if they say yes? So the magistracy thing, exactly the same. I saw on Facebook, they're looking for magistrates in the Northwest. Magistrates? What's that? Oh, I'm thinking, I know so many people who have gone through hell in family court. I know that, but so I can be a magistrate. I'll apply now. So I applied and I'm a magistrate. Wow. The same with the qualifications that I got through work. I just asked, please, will you people pay for my training? Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, you will? Okay, professional qualification, free of charge. Because the worst they can say is no. And sometimes when they say no, we walk away, but we haven't stopped to examine what kind of no is it. Is it no, not now? Or no, not today? Maybe it's no, not like this. No, what kind of no is it? Sometimes the no is not even final, but we give up. But one of the reasons I was able to climb out of that pit that I was in to where I am now is that after everything I've been through, the worst you can say is no, but you may say yes. They may say yes. So just keep asking, keep knocking on those doors. I'm seeing that there's a question. Should I answer that?
Yes, someone says, were there any signs during the courtship of
John? There was a lot of signs, but love covers everything, doesn't it? There were a lot of signs. And now, hindsight is a wonderful thing, isn't it? But all the age that I've reached now, the signs were, how many things am I not happy about, but I'm saying nothing? Because this relationship is so precious and we don't want yet another failed relationship. And they tell us that we have to be patient. And they tell us that we have to just cope. Shay is not beating you, or anything that your instincts, this is the thing, your instincts will tell you, this is something I don't like.
Yeah.
If there's something you don't like and you're not able to talk about it, that is a red flag. And then if you express your dislike or dissatisfaction about something, and that person, your boyfriend, husband, whatever, does not take on what you said, or they flick it, it becomes your fault. Or they're doing it because of something you've done. or if they just don't acknowledge that you are a person who is entitled to like or dislike stuff, that is a red flag. Because then they get you in a position where they're misbehaving or they're doing things, but you got used to coping with it. You just cope with it. You just, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. My advice now, and many people don't agree with me, is as a woman, you know, all those people who say you are a queen, you are. Do not take any shit off anyone. Honestly, the man is wired. I know we have our modern day view on things, and I am a modern woman. I was the breadwinner. In my last relationship, I was the only person paying bills. I was the only person paying this, that, and so I understand the whole modern woman thing. But the truth is, you are to be valued. You are to be cherished. You're not his mother. You are not his therapist. You are not. He's an adult all by himself. He does not need you to help him fix anything. He does not need you to help carry any load. I'm talking if you're courting, because the question is about courtship. He is the one who is meant to be looking after you. And I don't, whichever way you want to interpret that. But a man who is looking to marry or who is looking to bring a woman to be permanent with, they will do the work.
Yeah.
They will do the work. And any man who is looking to be pampered is not ready. He should go back to his mother. You're not his mother. So for me, to answer your question, the signs during courtship are: one, what are the things that you don't like, but you're not able to talk about? That is a problem. Because a secure relationship, you should be able to express yourself. And then when you do express yourself, what happens?
You get shut down.
Yeah, you get shut down, you get belittled, or they disregard how you feel, or they flip it and they turn it into something that is a problem with you instead. Or all of a sudden, they have a bigger problem than you, just to make sure that your own problem is as small as possible. Those are things that I didn't take seriously at all. And that was a huge mistake on my part.
Wow, that's a lot. When you were talking at the beginning, you said stuff about certain times you began to question your sanity about, did I say this or did I not say that? That's a little bit like being in a narcissistic relationship. Oh, yeah. Where you begin to question your sanity, like you begin to think, right, am I losing my mind? Did I say this? Did that not happen? And yeah, that's really something that people should look into.
People don't understand how bad it can get. People don't understand how bad it can get. I'll give you an example. This man said, we're rushing to church. No, it wasn't church. It happened once for church, but we were rushing somewhere. Get in the car. I had 2 small children. I'm trying to do car seats. I'm trying to get in the car. Hurry up, get in the car. Okay. I rushed the kids. We had a visitor in the house. And again, I don't want to be ashamed. I don't want to be embarrassed in front of our visitor. So I'm telling her, please get in the car. I get the kids, put them in the car, everything. We all sat down in the car. Where is he? I'm like, The way this man was rushing us, where is he? So I ran back into the house. We're all in the car. You said we're in a hurry. Do you know he was lying down? That he said, let him just grab 5 minutes rest. That's to sleep. No, he said, let me grab a 10-minute nap. I said, nah. I started thinking,
After hurrying everyone.
Did I imagine what just happened? And this is, to some people, this is maybe an extreme example, but there are many things like this. Another example is, he said, oh, that man, I feel sorry for him. His wife is a slut. I was like, Jesus, he's like, because I know this woman, he doesn't know her. I know these very quiet church ladies. So I said, how can you say, where do you get that kind of, why do you say that? He said, you told me. What? He said, you told me that she's promiscuous. I So I started thinking, how can I was so confused, and my entire marriage was like that. You said this, me? When did I say it? Or I'll come and say, oh, by the way, you said that we will do. No, I never said that. So I now started questioning, am I okay? Am I losing my mind? Because this man will say something. When I repeat it, he'll say, no, that's not what happened. Or he would say, or he'll say, I did something. And I'm sitting here looking like, I didn't. You just said, I didn't. And it sounds really, really petty. But if you have that going on a daily basis, you start to just question. That's what gaslighting is.
Yeah.
You start wondering, whoa, there must be something wrong with me, or my hearing. I started wondering, maybe I'm deaf. Maybe I started losing my hearing. Or maybe I'm not okay. So that when the relationship started ending, and he started writing emails, I counted at least 20 people he sent emails to saying, EJ is mentally unstable.
Typical.
Somebody forwarded the email to me. I read it. You know, for that split second, I thought, am I? Am I? Thank God for good friends surrounding me. But when he started sending those messages, EJ is mentally unstable, you can imagine the stories he's been telling people. Yeah. So this is now like confirmation. She has now completely lost her mind. And for a split second, I stopped to check. So, is that another question?
Yes.
Yes, I have a question, EJ. Thank you so much for, you're so beautiful and you're so inspiring. In fact, I can't even imagine how a beautiful lady like you could have ever gone through what you did by anybody. However, the question I have is about your children. Your children, how do they react to the situations that you found yourself in? And have you guys gone for any like family therapy or something? Like, how has your relationship with your children and their relationship with their dad, how has that been impacted by all of this? And I'm just worried about the children. I'm just wondering how children are being impacted and how they can come out of it.
That's the most difficult part of all of this for me, because as moms, we tend to be the ones that are more hands-on with our kids. So in my head, I thought that, like, I got 2 girls. I'm bringing up strong girls. They can withstand, they'll be okay. They'll be okay. When their dad moved out, in my head, I'm thinking this is no big loss, because my youngest, she was 3, my eldest, she was 5. And I'm thinking they'll be fine. And the way I'm bringing them up, the relationship I have with them, they'll be fine. But they were not, I have to be honest. My kids are all over social media. If you look me up on Facebook, we have very funny, very fantastic, strong relationship. But the most difficult thing for me is that to them, their father is a god. They idolize him. He's a superhero. That's in a way, it's not a bad thing, because I brought them up believing that too. When we first started, I helped them idolize their father. I made him wonderful. So when we go to the zoo, girls, have you thanked your dad? He's the one who's taking us to the zoo. No, he's not. Oh, look at this toy, birthday, Christmas present, all that. Make sure you say this thanks to your dad because we got it together. He had no clue what they're getting for birthdays or Christmas or whatever. So then when he left, I had built for him children who saw him as a hero. So now, I'm now saying I'm being abused. And I cannot say too much in front of them, although kids pick up very, very easily on what's going on. They pick up on it no matter how much you try to shield them from it. And this has been the most difficult part of being a single mom. Because how do you get your children to love somebody that you are trying to heal from? It would have been easier for me if he was completely absent from their lives, but he's not. He lives 10 minutes down the road, and we went through family court, which was the biggest struggle of my life, because I started going to defend myself against child abuse because they said I was abusing my kids. And even though anybody I say to, everybody knows it's not true, the judge was just rolling her eyes. She knew it wasn't true, but I still had to go through that process, extremely intrusive process. Then I had to go and answer for, he took me to court on an emergency court case for kidnapping. I kidnapped my children. These are children that are not allowed to spend the night in his house. And for the first few years, the kids, social workers, they did not allow children to even visit him. He had to pick them from school, but they were not allowed to go to his accommodation. So we've gone through this struggle. Now, the impact on the girls is I'm telling them something and I'm trying to be the decent person. But then when they go to see their dad, he's not trying to be the decent person because mommy doesn't let, you know, your mommy said this, your mommy did this, your mommy is a this, your mommy is a that. And the UK system, unfortunately, there's not much I can do about it. I just have to rely on the relationship I have with my children. Now, because I am working, I have to pay the mortgage, I have to keep my kids in a life that they can be proud of. It means that I'm not 24/7 there with my kids. Sometimes for my job, I have to travel. So that's made me realize the difference between quality of time and quantity of time. So we may not have the quantity that maybe a housewife or maybe a lady who has more time has, but I've had to learn how to make it quality. So I have conversations with them where I have to tell them the truth, age-appropriate truth. Because the gaslighting was me, the whole narcissistic, all those things he was doing it to me, but I am no longer a supply, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my children are. I come back, they come back from seeing him, and I hear some stories, and I see some confusion. I'll give you an example. One time, both of us were in front of my kids. Now, when I take them to school, they go on their scooter. He wanted to take them somewhere, and they wanted to go on their scooter. Now, this, daddy, can we go on the scooter? And he said, to be honest, I can't be dealing with that. I can't be dealing with them on their scooter. I can't be trying to control 2 children on a scooter. So I said, just say no then. So he said, no, you can't go on your scooter. And Zara, my daughter, was like, oh, but why? And he said, well, because of your behavior. So I said, no. It is not because of her behavior that she cannot go on the scooter. It is because you said you cannot handle it. Let's not confuse the poor girl because she's done nothing wrong. You cannot punish her and she'll spend the rest of the evening wondering what bad thing did I do that made them not give me the scooter. So I had to correct him. I said, see, I'm not going to let this happen. You tell her that she cannot go on her scooter because you cannot handle it, not because of her behavior. Now, I'm not always there. Actually, now, these days, because I got a restraining order and all that, I'm never there when he's with the kids. So when they come back, there's a lot of unpacking sometimes that has to happen. And not in a way that I don't want to force them to talk, but they know the kind of things that I need them to tell me about. I know the kind of things I need to undo because I know my children. That is the thing. You get to know your kids. You have to know your kids. So you can undo. You have to be the loudest voice in your children's heads. But also in this country, we're lucky to have options. So I contacted the school counselor. We haven't had family therapy together. We have had a lot of conversations though, where in an age-appropriate way and without making him look like a monster, which is what I really want to do, without making him look like a monster, we've had conversations where I have been honest. And I have said, our home was broken until he left. When he left, it was no longer a broken home. Look how happy, look at the joy, look at the laughter, look at the music that we couldn't have that before. So you're not from a broken home. Your home was broken until he left. And then the school counselor, I've told them, I mean, I've made them aware of everything that's going on. I've spoken to their individual teachers to say, this is what I'm dealing with. So can you just keep an eye on my kids? If there are any behavioral issues, and this, thank God, in this country, again, these women, these teachers, they're trained and they know what signs to look out for. So I say, if you see any of these things, please let me know, but also, can you do your job? Can you talk to my kids, have conversations with them? I give you, full access. They would, if they say it's me that is doing something wrong, absolutely fine, bring it to my attention. But I have made them part of my support system, to the point where when he sends inappropriate or difficult emails to the school, I get to know about it because they want me to be aware of, this is the latest thing he's kicking off about. So just keep an eye on the kids at home, because we're hearing that these are the things he's saying to them. So I made the school part of my support system.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for that response. Speaking about a support system, now, how do you think that someone in Nigeria, like in a different country altogether, where you don't have these therapists, you don't have these trained educationists, how do you think someone can find a support system other than your parents, possibly not really the church? What other support system can people in other countries get?
In my experience, unfortunately, and I know this is not the case for everybody, the church may not be the best place in this day and age. Maybe before, in this day and age, I would say no to the church. Now, in terms of finding a support system, it depends on what you're looking for. I have an issue with people who, they say tough love, but it involves shaming you or giving you unsolicited advice, or getting angry with you for not doing what they've said. So people in places that don't have these resources, first and foremost, before we start looking outside, let's get to know our children and know what it is we need first. Because we're all different human beings. Some of us are capable, to be honest. Some of us are able to do this, but we don't trust ourselves enough. So first of all, let's identify, what is it I really need? What kind of help, what kind of support am I looking for? And then you need to find those voices. The teachers in the school, I don't think in Nigeria, we don't have that many different schools in Nigeria. There isn't a uniform way of approaching these things. So we would have to find these people for ourselves. And sometimes they are the unlikely people. Like you say, it doesn't have to be somebody from church. It might be somebody from work. I don't know. I don't know who it could be. But if you know what you're looking for, first of all, then you can identify who can offer you that thing. If it's just a general, so this is another thing that we haven't even talked about yet. The friends that you lose when you split up, if you split up, or in a situation where you have gone through hell, the friends that you lose, the people that should have been that support network we're talking about, that decide to drop off from your life. It can be the loneliest time. And if you have children, it's even more lonely, because all you're hearing is children talk. You have no friends left. And you, as an adult, you have no adult stimulation, no adult conversation. You are talking to children 24/7. It can drive you crazy. That was my situation in lockdown. Just me and these two small children driving me crazy. Online is amazing. In Nigeria, like I say, going to church this day and age, if your church is telling you to stay in an abusive relationship, it's a bad church. If your church is telling you that, your children, whatever, just maybe not church. Maybe your friends have fallen off, but the online community is amazing. There's so many groups online where you can get all sorts of information. You can educate yourself, but all these support groups online, I will never forget. Some of my best friends were when I was giving birth to my child, when I got pregnant for my first child. And I found this group on Facebook of women who had just got married and were pregnant, about to have a baby. And my child is 8 years old now, and these have become some of the closest people in my life. Some of them, I have never met them. So we are born in an age where we are privileged. Thank God that there is social media. Thank God for Google. Thank God for Amazon. We have access to information. So the support network that we would have needed to go outside for, perhaps if we could just get enough data to have a chat with people who are like-minded.
EJ, I was going to say something, right? We're also streaming on YouTube as well. Someone has asked a question. They said, the question sounds like someone who's been through an abusive relationship and is trying to pick themselves up. And they're saying, how does someone actually keep living and keep trying to achieve? Because a lot of times when you go through an abusive situation, a marriage or relationship, you feel like your life is over, because that's the feeling it leaves you with, especially with narcissistic relationships.
Yeah.
They're like, how do you manage to motivate yourself to come out of that abusive situation, trying to survive the abuse, plus being a good mother and a single mother, and also chasing your career as well, and being happy, having a social life? Like, how do you do all these things? Because they feel like their life is over and they just want it to stop.
Stop then. That is the thing. If you're rushing on to the next, this is one thing, again, that I am discovering, and it has completely transformed my life. I am a human being. I am not Superwoman. Oh, you're so strong. Yeah, not always. And one thing that I did, which served me well, is I stopped. You stop. There's nothing wrong with stopping. Rest. So if you have come out, or if you're about to come out, first of all, if you haven't come out from that relationship, start planning. Oh, the joys of planning your exits. So good. Because not all of us are able to just stand up and leave. Where will we go? We don't have money to pay rent for the next place. We don't have accommodation. We don't have friends or family that we can go and stay with for the night. So we can't just stand up and go. So for us, for some of us, the process has to be strategic. So, and I hope this is not taken in the wrong way. Enjoy planning your exit, because in the planning is where you will find your strength. That's where you'll find inspiration. That's where wisdom will start to come to you, because you are planning your wonderful future. If you have already left and you are rock bottom, you are down and out, that is okay too. Stay there for as long as you need to stay there. But also, don't stay there forever. So if you haven't gathered the strength to get up yet, that's okay. Don't rush. Just stay where you need to be for now. But then let the time come where you start to think about what your next step is going to be. But you have to stop. You will kill yourself if your mind is in chaos and all you're doing is figure out what now, what do I do, where do I go, how do I, oh my God. You will achieve absolutely zero. So in whatever stage you are at, wherever you have reached, stop, look around and determine what next you're going to do. You don't have to rush. You're not racing against anybody. You're not living your life according to anybody else. Get to know yourself. If you have children, get to look at your kids properly and get to know your kids. That's one good thing. That happened for me. I suddenly discovered my kids. What? I had crazy kids. So I started to enjoy my kids. They're so active.
They're like you. When you say crazy, they're like you.
They're so, I stopped, honestly. And let me tell you, when I became a single mom, and especially because in my case, it was the second time, my life felt like it was ending. Because what? The problem must be me. I must be the problem. Because how am I here? My mom and dad are marriage counselors. How am I in this position? So there's a lot of reflecting I had to do, a lot of self-development. I had to get to know myself. Now I had to come to terms with the fact that, EJ, this is your second time. So you are going to be judged left, right, and center. This is your fault. People are going to judge you. No matter what you achieve in life, it will come down to the fact that you've had 2 failed marriages. It is your fault. And do you know what? I enjoyed the few months, well, not enjoyed, but I stayed a few months just getting my head around that fact. And because I accept that fact, nobody can use it to hurt me. Because I know myself, I accept, I acknowledge all of that stuff. So yes, your life will feel like it has ended. And for as long as you feel that way, that's okay. But then you have a choice to make. Don't rush. There's no, where are you rushing to? For what? Just take the time that you need. Not according to any other human being's timetable. That's the mistake we make. Don't make that, because you will end up in another bad relationship if you do. You will make a lot of bad choices. So don't rush. Just take the time you need, but use wisdom.
Cool. Okay, we're going to be wrapping up in about 20 minutes. So if you have a question, you can put your hands up in the chat or type in your question. But I'm going to ask a few questions because there's some questions coming in from YouTube and all. Someone is asking, they said, normally when people go through a hard time emotionally, either domestic violence, relationship, depression, grief, and all that stuff, people need an outlet, like how to let off the steam. So they said, could you give an example of what your outlet was? I mean, someone said they took to the gym. Someone said they were kickboxing. Someone said they broke all the cups in the house. So what was your outlet? I mean, we don't all have the same outlet, but I'm just kind of curious to know what your outlet was.
I wish it was going to the gym. None of my outlets were healthy.
Okay.
I didn't have healthy outlets. Also, one thing. So the first time I was in this situation, I was in church. I belonged to a church, and I made some friends who were okay, and they became my social life. I joined things like, I laugh now because, my goodness, I joined things like poetry club, which is not me at all. Sounds boring, but I loved it. For all I looked for a social life. I had a social life. I'll be honest with you. I enjoyed my social life, but, and not everybody's going to agree with me here, but when the time came, when I felt ready, I was talking in the office with some of my colleagues, and this is a long time ago now. This is 2010, 2011. We're all talking, and online dating was a new thing, newish. And we're like, oh my God, can you imagine the serial killers that are there and the wicked people, and everybody was talking. So we're all saying, do you know that girl over there? Do you know she's online dating? And we're laughing our heads off. Then someone said, let's do an experiment. We'll put somebody online, we'll choose the picture, we'll write the profile, and we'll see what happens. So everybody was like, yes, let's do it. Then I looked around the table, it's only me that was single. I was like, no, we're not doing this. Anyway, they convinced me. And you know, I have to say, it's one of the best things I did back then. Because this was a stage where, like I said, it was okay, it was time, yeah. But I had no confidence. And first of all, I'm an African. Online, how will I tell my father? What will I say? If I meet someone I like, how will I tell my people where did we meet? I can't say online. But I wasn't looking for a husband. But my confidence was on the floor. I had no confidence. Yeah. I didn't even know how to really get dressed much anyway. You know, I just didn't know myself like that. Mm-hmm. So I agreed for them to put me online. They chose the picture. They wrote my profile. If anybody, and I said I'll not approach anyone, I'll only reply. So if anybody sends me a message, then I'll bring it to the office the next day. Then they'll reply on my behalf. It was funny. But then I started meeting people, men. Started meeting men and made it clear, listen, I'm not looking for a relationship. Now I advise people, go online, go and build your confidence. Only when it's time. Don't rush. But back then it was the best thing that my friends, my colleagues did for me, because I wasn't doing anything I shouldn't, put it that way. I wasn't being promiscuous. If you want to be promiscuous, by the way, please, by all means, go ahead, but please be safe. Do what you like, be safe. If that's what you need, go for it, but just be safe. But in my case, it was nice, you know, it was good, it was wholesome, and it helped me build my confidence. So yeah. I always now, I only did it for like 3 or 4 weeks, but then it enlarged my social life, you know. So I wish I'd gone to the gym. No, I didn't go to the gym. I couldn't break anything because I didn't have money to replace anything. And eventually, I just found the social life. And I'll be honest, because I said I lost a lot of friends and a lot of people dropped off. So it wasn't always with people that, you know, it wasn't my best friend, or I didn't have any. I just found a way to keep my calendar busy. Also, though, there were aspects of my life that I could control, and that was my performance at work.
Right.
I have to mention this. Perhaps maybe this is what my outlet was.
Probably.
My performance at work, because I thought I might be a shit human being who just cannot hold a relationship down, or I might be this worthless person that someone says I am, and, you know, I'm an abused woman or whatever. But I'm going to be good at something, and what I can control is work. So I put myself into work, and I started as a messenger at the job center.
Wow.
I was the one that they will send to where they call the dungeon, to go down and bring a file. And all the small girls and small boys would be sending me left, right, and center for no reason, you know. And I thought, you know, I'm going to change this. And I did.
So you started as an office girl at the job center, and today you're an award-winning mom, author, and a magistrate.
I am. My main job is sorry, I laugh because it's like it's not me who's talking, but I'm a HR professional. I work in the civil service, and I decided to climb up the ladder. So currently I work with the HMRC.
Wow.
And my job title is, I can never say it right. My job title is Senior HR Expert Advisor.
From the job center. Excellent.
So perhaps that was my outlet.
Probably, yes. I would say that's what it was.
I have to emphasize, if there's one message from me, is just go and knock on that door. Send that email, send that whatever, send that message, ask that question, apply for that job, whatever it is, go and talk to that person, whatever it is. The worst that can happen is that they'll say no. Or maybe they'll say yes. Maybe they'll say maybe. Maybe they'll point you in a different direction.
Yeah.
But the answer is always no if you don't ask.
Right. Just before we go, as the title of this meeting is Be Inspired, right? And your life is very inspiring. If you were to say 5 things to a woman out there that is listening to you, who has gone through domestic violence, who has come out, who feels like her life is over, she has no zeal, no motivation or anything, what 5 things will you say to inspire her? And also tell us about this book that you've written, because I'm quite interested in that.
Booklet. Call it
Booklet.
a booklet.
Booklet.
With large print to increase the number of pages.
It's a book, your publisher.
Right. Okay. So can I swear? Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah,
No.
I'll bleep it out.
Okay, no, I won't swear then.
Okay.
Because the summary, F them, basically.
I like that.
Because, and I don't know, not everybody may be in the same situation as me, but the thing that held me back the most is opinions. All my life, I have lived my life according to everybody else's opinion. F them. Their opinions, no matter who they are, no matter how much you love them, no matter your life, you can get advice from them. You can use their opinions to gauge where things are. But it's your choice. And nobody knows what brings you peace more than you do. Somebody who is absolutely wonderful and you respect and they are very wise, they will give you advice sometimes and you know that it makes sense, but not to me. You don't have to follow that, because as long as you're not hurting anybody, you have the ability to make good choices. You know what brings you peace. You cannot live your life based on somebody else's instructions. That's the biggest thing for me is just try for once, shut everybody out and decide for yourself who you are, who you want to be. How you're going to get there. We make the mistake of trying to focus on how. Okay, I want to be this. So don't, the how will come later. What's most important now is that you face yourself. I have this thing I say, face yourself, know yourself, grow yourself. So face yourself. Where are you now? What is your current situation? Be honest with yourself. How bad is it? How bad is it? Where are you? Then acknowledge all of it. Okay, this is where I am. This is where I am. Then get to know yourself. If you have children, get to know your kids. Spend some time dating yourself. So get to know what triggers. I used to be one of those people who I used to kick off on Facebook. If all Black people are kicking off, I will follow. If women are kicking off about something, I will follow. Then I'll come home and I'll be thinking, actually, I'm not that angry about that thing I just argued about. Because I'm just following the crowd.
Yeah.
She say I'm a Black woman, so I'll follow what Black women are angry about. I'm a woman, I'll follow what women are angry about. I'm a tall person, so what tall people are angry about. But no, I carve out my own identity. So face yourself and get to know yourself and decide what actually matters to you. What really matters. Yeah, where do you want to go? So that's another thing. What is your next step?
Right.
Your next step doesn't have to be something big. It doesn't have to be a ginormous thing that you do. It might be something very small. Very small. When I go out and I do talks, sometimes I take the audience by surprise. And I say, I have a question. And please, anybody can answer. And my question is, what is your next step? And then there's silence because people are thinking, how? How do you mean? You mean that? No, I don't know. I'm asking you. Some people say, oh, is it regarding my career? I don't know. Oh, is it regarding my relation? I don't know. But what is your next step? And you see people stop and it sort of makes people stop and think, hang on, what is my next step? So that's my next advice for you. Face yourself. Get to know yourself. Get to know where you want to go. And then know what your next step is. No matter how small that step is, know what it is. Lastly, enjoy yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my God. We forget to enjoy ourselves. We forget. So this Cheshire Woman of the Year thing that they gave me, because I don't know where it came from. I still don't know who nominated me. I don't know how the hell, I don't know. But I was nominated Cheshire and I won Cheshire Woman of the Year. Now it's a title that you hold for 1 year.
Okay.
In my head, I'm thinking, wow, I've already done 3 months. I need to remember how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I am enjoying it. Yeah. Sometimes I just post a picture of, remember, guys, don't forget, Cheshire
Woman of the Year.
Sometimes
I like it.
when I'm sending an email, sometimes I add it to my signature just to be, but enjoy whatever little milestone with your kids. Make a big deal of it. Because the mistake we make is we're rushing to the next thing, rushing to the next thing, rushing to the next thing. We forget to stop and enjoy where we currently are.
Mm-hmm.
It is easy to focus on how bad things are.
Right.
It's easy to focus on how down and out we are. It is easy to focus on how we are stuck. It's easy to focus on how unsuccessful we are in the attempts and the efforts that we're making. That's easy. But we're Black women. Since when have we done easy? It's easy
I know.
to focus on the negative things, but it's better to seek out the positive, no matter how small that positive thing is. Go overboard, celebrate it. And again, I believe the more you do, or the more you focus on, the more that thing multiplies. That's my new thing. So the more I focus on whatever negatives, I find even more negatives to add to the list. But I've made a conscious choice now of, I celebrate milestones. I am very deliberate about being overboard with the smallest things that happen. And I find now all of a sudden in my life, more and more good things are happening because I'm looking for the good things for them to happen rather than focusing on how bad things are.
Yeah. Excellent. Your book, Let. What's it about and where can we get it if we have to look for it?
During lockdown, homeschooling nearly killed me. I'm not a natural teacher. I'm not one of these natural, I'm not. And it was just me, and like I said, and these 2 kids driving me crazy. And I started, one day they went to bed and I started typing. It's very weird how this happened. I started typing because somebody said something. I was watching these webinars in 2020, there were a lot of webinar on this, webinar on that, because everybody's on lockdown. All of a sudden there's a masterclass on this, masterclass on that. I joined one of them and I didn't know what it was. I was bored. I was half asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But they said something, they were talking about digital product. Like, I kept thinking, what on earth is a digital product? Oh, well, what do you know? Digital. So I said, I'm going to create a digital product. So I started typing, and it was supposed to be an article on how my kids and I locked down kind of thing. Yeah. But it just kept getting longer and longer. And it turned into this. It's more like a friend talking to you about some issues that you face. It's called Surviving 0 to 5. And it's like short paragraphs on, feeding, when your child, I don't want to eat this, I don't want to eat that. Or I say things like, this whole sibling rivalry thing. Even at that age, as toddlers, my first child is used to being the first child. All of a sudden, she has to share me with this other person, and how to just navigate simple things. So I'm not writing as an authority. I'm writing as your friend who is giving you a short manual. Because what mom has time to sit down and be reading big books or research or whatever?
Exactly.
So it's like a friend having a chat about some of the things that I faced when my kids were between 0 to 5. That's it.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, we'll definitely check it out. And once again,
Amazon.
Amazon, yes. Definitely, I'll share the link later when I make the post and all. But thank you very much. It's been such an inspiring conversation and listening to you. Obviously, the chat is the meeting is recorded, will be posted. It's on YouTube. People might still have questions, which I'll still forward to you. But wonderful. I mean, half of the things I've heard today, I knew some of it, but not this much, but very, very inspiring. I think you should make like t-shirts that say FKG. Face it, know it, grow it. You know, like in London Underground, where they say catch it, kill it, bit. No, catch it, kill it, bit it.
Like
see it, something.
See that t-shirt. You might find that.
I might just make it before you hear FKG is face it, know it, grow it. And that's the way, do it, yeah, do it, definitely. And then give me my percentage for, give me the business idea.
Of course.
But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you, Joanne. Joanne was calling in all the way from US. Thank you, Charlotte, Ngozi, who left, Tia, who left as well.
My name. It's not my name.
Yeah, I saw that.
Apologies. I'm easy to find on social media. I'm sure Dot will put all the posts. If you want to find me on social media, I'm easy to find. So that is not my name. That is Iwan's name.
That's Iwan's name. So yeah. Well, thank you, EJ. And I'm sure in the future, again, we'll still have you to come chat with us. Maybe even fly you down to come and, do a one-to-one at one of our seminars.
About this whole
we've been talking about it for a long time, haven't we? But it was good to hear from you and definitely very inspired. I have to think about what I want to do next.
Yeah. Next step. What's
Next step. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is EJ McDougall, all the way from office girl at the job center to magistrate, chief executive consultant, the conqueror, the emperor, Zobu, Acheru. Well done to you. And thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.